do think this is a good idea.
Yes.
This is a good example of I don't have the time to do it. I really do want someone to steal it. So let me get into it.
All right.
So I'm going to give you the, like why I came up with the idea because that's where things start, and then we'll get into the details of it.
Yeah.
So I went to Mexico, wanted to go to visit like the ruins, and I wanted
Sounds like Cancun.
It was Cancun, and I wanted to do a tour guide. My wife was pregnant, so we went down there. And what happened was like I had to like book it there on site with someone I didn't know. I didn't have any reviews. And it was like a 10-hour experience. I'm like, I actually just want to go faster because my wife's pregnant. It's hot. I just want to go quicker. So I'm like, well, of course, there's got to be something I can like download on my phone.
Like a Rick Steves type thing?
Like a Rick Steves, but stay with me. So like a Rick Steves where I could go and I could just download it, have it downloaded and put my iPods in and we could walk around and have this experience. So, there is Rick Steves, but this is different. So this is like an Audible platform.
Rick Steves is like... I would say outdated. Like
you think? You think that like 70-year-old white guy walking through Europe's a tad outdated? Yeah, a little bit. So I'm going to refer to it like this. It's an Audible-like platform for guides and tours. So what we mean by this is like think about if you go to Washington, D.C., tons of stuff at Washington, D.C. Yep. A lot of it's free, some of it's paid. So occasionally it's a paid experience like the Holocaust Museum, and they have you go through this one experience. Okay, fine. But what about a lot of these other tours where there's no tours,
right?
Or you can go hire a local tour, but they have to meet you. They can only do a certain amount of the group.
It's a walking tour. There's 50 people. Follow the flag.
They follow the flag, go through. And I'm like, why can't this person put their put the tour on a mobile device, so that they can they're an author now, right? So now they can take their information and really expand it, and you can see a few things will happen. So one is you get reviews, so you get the best tour guide, not just who was available, because there's 1,000 of these guides that go around.
Could anybody do it, or is it like...
I think anybody should do it, and this is why I think it's important. So I don't think it's just a tour guide for the big museums. Yeah. Like what if I'm at a baseball stadium and some guy's been going to baseball games at Fenway for 30 years and he's going to give me a 10-minute tour guide. He says, hey, look up here, look at this, here's some stories. And it's 10 minutes. It's super quick.
Go to seat 15. This is actually the best seat in the whole house. Here's why.
Correct. Here's where Ted Williams hit this thing. But he doesn't have to be some certified author of Fenway. He's just a guy who knows it. So it could be at a ski resort. It could be at a golf resort. It could be in a local city. Like, hey, I'm at this small town, Issaquah in Seattle, and someone's got a little 10-minute tour guide. Now, I think that is a component of it. But I do think actually what's more interesting is if I go let's go back to the ruins, there's probably a lot of different perspectives of the ruins, right?
Sure.
Some are local history, some might have some religious history, some might be shorter, some might be longer. And I think it would be we all kind of want to get something else out of it. So I like the concept of showing up to a place and be like, oh, there's the short version, there's the medium version, there's the in-depth version.
Right.
Or there's different
tags
perspectives.
Of what kind of gist or theme that
So I have more, but I want you guys to respond. Give me your thoughts before I get into some of my other solutions on this.
It's such a good idea.
It really is.
There we go.
It's such a good idea. So here's what I imagine. So I was just in DC.
You were just in DC.
I was just in DC, and I'm a fast walker.
Yeah.
This is a problem. So I could never do a tour with these slow groups of people that just walk around. But I also want to know what I'm looking at a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think what would be so interesting is if it could do this, right? It could know where you are. So it's as a person that's configuring this, I say, okay, when they get to this point, trigger this message. So you're kind of walking at your own pace, but the app knows where you are and triggers. So it's
you get to the Washington
left.
If you get to the Washington Monument, or you get to this.
Have you seen the new Google Maps live mode?
Yeah, exactly that.
So it's that, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you're walking and it's the VR where you hold it up and then it gets you to this point and it can actually have the message there, which you see in Google Maps, or it pops out on you're hearing it and it takes you on this tour. And again, you're going at your own speed.
Yep.
So if you're there and you're like, you know what, actually this is really cool, you can potentially learn more on that spot, or you could just keep going to other things.
Yeah.
But you create a world in which you don't have to just follow the flag. You don't have to go you're getting one story from one person. This opens it up where now it's you get all sorts of people telling your stories. And frankly, I think the creativity of podcasts.
Yeah.
You give a lot of people a voice and you get some really interesting stuff. And I think the same thing would happen with tours.
So if I'm a tour guide and I make this tour or whatever, am I getting
paid?
Paid.
So I would the platform would work like iTunes does. Hey, you put
sure.
we'll give you the structure to make it. So here, come use our app to make it, record it,
and then you
photos.
pay 99 cents. For
99 cents to 10, depending, right? Like, let's say it's a super depth, like it's like a book. You could charge 99 cents. You could charge $30, $10. I don't care. It depends on what you're giving me. And again, we'll go through that experience and you'll get a cut.
I actually really like the idea. So I'm from Seattle, just like Alex is. And when people go to Seattle, like, hey, what should I do? I'm like, well,
go to Pike Place.
Yeah, go to Pike Place. But like, in my mind, I'm like, well, this is what you should do. You should actually not go, like, you should go here and then go here and then go here and then like on a path.
Yeah.
And so creating this like pathway where like you can tell people to go to these different destinations. All right, now you're at the Troll. Here's why the Fremont Troll is cool. Since you're here, let's go to the University Village. Just play the next message when you get to the university. I'll tell you where to go.
So I've seen some of those around. It's like an itinerary builder, and I think that there's a world for that. What might be interesting here is like when you show up at the Fremont Troll, you get like a cool tour, but now you can follow that person who's done a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And like you can be like, oh, this person's super interesting, and they're like, hey, go to Pike Place and take my tour again. So they can kind of create their following, and they can go through like a Rick Steves, but opening it up to more than just the
especially if you have I could see somebody who's like, an amateur being like, oh, I'll charge $1 for mine, but I'll do a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's 50 cents or $1 for my little mini tours that are all 10 minutes long or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
I think that we've focused a lot on these like big tours, like the tour of Seattle or different areas and things like that. I think what would be so awesome about an app like this is that it would allow you to have easy access to like the baseball tour, right? Where it's like famous baseball stadiums, but like also like the pizza tour where it's like, here are the 10 famous pizza places in New York.
Yep.
We're going to do those. And this is somebody I trust on pizza.
Like a bar crawl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I think that those like allowing people to
curate their own tours
yes.
of whatever they want to do.
Yep. And you could like literally, it could be 4 p.m. and I turn to my friend and I'm like, why don't we do like a beer tour or something like that? And it's like,
oh, I love that. Like local. Like what's in Lehigh? Somebody had to have made a Lehigh tour. Let's go to Lehigh Roller Meadows. Here's why this building's still here. Like
totally.
So here's why it's also really cool in my opinion. There's a monetization strategy. So if you're talking about a business, like it's clear that we've followed this, like create a platform, give them the technology to curate it, and you can charge your 30%. They get the rest, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be the typical model. Second thing
you
is
can tip them if you want, I suppose.
Yeah. Actually, that probably could be a really cool way to do it.
Right.
The other thing I would say is you look at like TripAdvisor and these groups that are Expedia that are pushing you on trips. All they can do is like potentially sell you like the bigger museum.
Yeah.
But now they can make money and start to push like, oh, the things to do tab, like the bar crawl, like all that now can get monetized more in a way that it hasn't. So now you have an outlet of people that would actually distribute this type of business.
And then they come in and say, hey, we want to lock down a strategic partnership with you, the top 3, tour guides. We want you on our platform. We want exclusive rights.
Correct.
So when people book through us, they get access to your content.
To your thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Good
One
idea.
of the
We're
best
good?
ideas
All right, good.
ever. This is so good. It's like one of those ones where, and I said this every podcast where the idea is really good. It's one of those ideas where it's like, I almost want to say, Alex, why did you talk about this on the podcast?
Yeah.
It's so good, right? Like,
But you're right. It is something that would like take a fair amount of time to get up and running.
No,
like,
it's not. It's not like a night project.
It is I think though the technology didn't exist 5+ years ago, but now with like Google's live mode, the VR, a lot of different things on the iPhones and the Samsung phones. So it's out there. It's possible. I think you ultimately do have to go get tour guides and create that. But if you create a good experience for them to do it, I think eventually you can build it.
Well, and there's lots of cool like long-term monetization strategies with events, right? It's like you go to the Washington Monument or some museum, and it's like, by the way, since you got to here, you get 5% off, and then you've worked out a cut. These places. So there's tons of cool stuff.
Okay, do you want me to go to my next two, or do you have any other questions on iGuides?
iGuides, is that the name?
That's what I've called. That's my project name, my working name. Yeah.
Yeah, your working name. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Could you poke a hole
Scott.
in it?
Just the name. I think there's a more fun. I'm not sure what it is right now, but iGuides feels like that's the.
Well, whoever steals this idea, you can rename it.
Name it whatever you want.
That's what I called it in my 10 seconds of thinking about the name.
No, that's about as bulletproof an idea as you could ask for on this podcast. So thieves out there, you just got a great idea from a very smart man. So
Okay, so now to my timely holiday issues that I have, and I know that you guys have had these issues, and I know everyone listening is having these issues. So there